Hi, I'm Natalie Ledwell and this is The Inspiration Show. Today, my passion peep is someone who's overcome a harrowing experience as a child and now inspires and motivates others to search deep within themselves to create prosperous, healthy and enriching lives. Now, Drew Canole is an author, a fitness specialist and a nutritionist, and is one of the most reputable personal coaches in Southern California. Now, Drew is committed to the conviction that people are their best when challenged. He pushes others to push through personal barriers and reach new heights in physical, mental and spiritual well-being. Now, when you hear his story, you'll be shocked and you'll totally understand why he now lives a life of passion. So enjoy the video. Well, hi Drew, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Excellent. Now we're going to just dive straight into the questions today.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to this.
Awesome. Okay. So the reason I've actually asked you here today is because I know that you're a person that lives your life on passion. Mm-hmm. But I'm assuming that it wasn't always that way for you. So what is your journey? What is your background up until now?
That's a good question. So I was always living passionately. I had this real, zeal and zest for life. And it actually happened at a young age. See, for me, I was brought into an experience where I was abused as a kid. Physically, emotionally, even sexually. And it was hard, but every single thing led up to this point where I was actually, put into this other house when I was adopted at the age of 6, and my mother told me to pray every night. It was instilled that we would go through our prayers at night. And I was praying for, the typical things a 6-year-old would pray for. The dog, the cat, grandma, grandpa. And one night I actually prayed to forgive the man that had done everything against me at that young age. And that completely changed my whole entire experience from that point on. My sister at the time kind of held on to it, and you can see her life. So I was living passionately after the forgiveness, but I think the forgiveness is key in explaining that to you, because a lot of people hold on to things from the past, they don't let it go, and it creates this life that they don't really want to be living. So for me, I let that go at a young age, but I was still living in this vicious circle of, it's Drew's show, right? I would go out and I would try to get people involved in my experience, and I really wasn't giving. I wasn't living in a giving zone. So I lived my whole entire life like this. I graduated from college, worked 12 to 14 hours a day. I mean, there was times when I'd get 3 or 4 hours of sleep and then be back to the job again, working for money, working for something that I thought people wanted to see. They related me with success and money. So this is what I was trying to attract. And then after working there for so long, I moved down to Florida, and I met this mentor. And he said, Drew, if you do one thing, make sure you're doing something to bless others. This business is not about making money. It's about actually helping people. And that really stuck with me. That was like one of those things that kind of switched in my mind. So then I started to focus on what can I give. The more that I can give, obviously the more is going to be attracted into my experience and the more success there is going to be. So once I made that switch, and and it wasn't like instant either. We keep going back to our old routines.
Absolutely. It's
this vicious circle that I was in. So I would go back, and I met some amazing people when I used to live over in Florida that were extremely good at what they were doing. We were flying around on private jets and just living this life, traveling all over the place, but it wasn't me. I was still doing something that wasn't my passion. I was in the credit and debt niche. I was running a company called Eat My Debt and Waterfield Credit. So I realized that if I wanted to change, if I wanted to start living in my passion, I had to change my environment. So one day I decided to move over to San Diego, California, just get out of the environment that I was in. And that's the day that it all changed.